Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I filmed how I did this look. I was recently a bridesmaid this past weekend, so I did my own makeup because honestly I don't really love the idea of getting my makeup done, so I hope you guys enjoy. So I'm just gonna pin my hair back. I really like to use these little clip things because they pin your hair without causing it to crease. I always start my skin by prepping it, and I'm gonna be taking this Laneige Creamy Skin. It's kind of like the Road Glazing Milk, which I tried for the first time the other day and I really liked it, but my Sephora didn't carry it, so I'm gonna pump. It's really liquidy, it's the only thing. I'm just gonna tap, tap, tap. My skin, I moisturized it earlier, so I like to start with really moisturized plump skin. I don't ever just like go onto dry skin because I personally like my makeup to be really glowy. And then I'm gonna be taking this Clarify topical spray. It's like for clarifying and calming, and it's for acne prone skin because as you can see I'm breaking out really bad right now. I started like consuming dairy again, like milk, and it did that to me, so I stopped that. And then for the time being, I'm gonna put on just a little bit of like, it is colored, but it's like a chapstick just because my lips are feeling dry. If I am wearing eye makeup, I start with my eyes. So I'm just gonna take a concealer. This one is the Hourglass concealer. It's pretty good. It is very high coverage, and I just apply this as kind of like a base for my eyeshadow, just so it's all one shade on my eyelid. I'm just gonna set it with some powder that I would use to set my face. This particular one that I'm using is Huda Beauty in the shade Cherry Blossom Cake. The thing that I like to do is go in with a bronzer in my crease with a really fluffy brush. This is just the Smashbox step-by-step contour palette. It basically just has 3 shades. This is not eyeshadow, but I use it sometimes if I'm going for an eyeshadow look. And I just take a little bit and begin kind of diffusing some out into my crease. Just lightly. And honestly, the key to wearing eyeshadow and making it look good is blending and starting light. Personally, I like to start light. So I usually don't wear super dark or heavy eyeshadow because honestly I just don't feel like it suits me very well, but I mean there's a lot of people that do like darker eyeshadow that it looks really good on. And one recommendation that I would have if you like a bolder look is to start light and get darker. And also another tip that I have for eyeshadow is you never, well I mean not never, but usually you don't just want to take your eyeshadow and go all the way up here too. Like you just want to focus it in the crease where your eyelid meets the top of it, and it kind of folds right here or it kind of sinks in. Like you can feel it if you go like this and you feel where you can press into your eye. Typically I personally will never just go in and like do all the way from here to here because it is a nice look to kind of keep this area up, and it kind of lifts your eyebrows. Everybody has a different eye shape. Mine is like I have a lot of space right here, so honestly sometimes you can't really help it. Like some people don't have a really big eyelid, so you kind of just have to play around with it and whatever suits you and whatever you prefer. This is just my method because if I were to do that it just would not suit me at all. I'm gonna take this eyeshadow palette from Morphe. It's called Midnight Dune, and it just has a lot of cool tone shades. Sorry, the mirror is like broken, but yeah, it's just I have a very cool skin tone. So basically there's 3 skin tones I believe, or kind of 4, I don't know, it's a little bit foggy for me, but it's gonna be cool, warm, neutral, and then there's also an olive skin tone, which I also think could fall under the category of cool tone. But another tip that I have is to do eyeshadow based on your skin tones. For example, I have a cool skin tone, so personally I really don't like the way that super orangey and warm eyeshadows look on me. The warmest that I will go is pink. So if you have a warmer skin tone, you're really going to be able to look amazing in those bronzy, orangey, warm eyeshadow colors. One way that you can figure this out is if you look at your veins and they're kind of a bluer color or purpley, that typically means that you have a cool skin tone. And if they lean a little bit more green and look kind of greenish, that means you have a warm skin tone. So that's just one way. This is also going to help you be able to find a perfect foundation match and all that, because for me, if I put on a warm foundation, it's going to look orange. Sorry for that long rant. I hope that it helps. I'm just going to take a hint. This is a little bit darker than the shade that I took before, and I'm just going to take a tiny bit and then pat it off. The thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this lighter shade right here. This is more close to my skin tone, and I'm just going to apply that on the space that you see that is light right here. Next, I'm going to take a really shimmery shade. It's going to be this one right here. But I do have a tip for shimmery eyeshadow. If you're applying your shimmer and it's not as pigmented as you want it, a tip that I have is to take your finger. I honestly am such a big fan of using my finger for certain aspects of makeup. I don't always think that you need a super fancy brush. Step though that I do that does add a little bit of depth to my look is I like to do eyeliner. So basically, instead of eyeliner, I like to use a dark eyeshadow because I think it's more diffuse and you don't have to be as precise, because sometimes eyeliner can be really hard to do. I just basically, what I do is I add eyeliner to halfway and beyond. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm gonna take a little, it's basically like this brush that I use for all this, but it's cut straight. So it's just like a very straight brush. And I'm gonna take this dark brown and I just apply it like right on the edge, right on that pointed edge. I don't go in straight like that because that's gonna make it thick. And personally, I don't really like a super thick eyeliner. I just like it thin and smoky. Okay, and then see how I didn't go all the way in? I just started basically like right at my pupil and then on. And I'm gonna make a little tiny wing. So that's the wing, and then I'll just kind of use my finger to make it a little bit more precise. I like it pretty thin. Here is the finished eye look, but I'm gonna take it one step further. I'm gonna use fake lashes, fake eyelashes. These are personally my favorite line. It's by Ardell and it's called the Naked Lashes. The way that I like to remove them from the package is get a pair of tweezers, and I just basically grab the band and I pull up. If you pull from the lash, like the individual lashes itself, it's gonna rip them off. Literally, to cut them, all I do is cut them, but I will count how many, I don't know if you can see, but they're kind of in clusters. So like you see like that first one, second one, third one, I will count to see how many groups of lashes where I'm cutting so I can make them even. So I ended up cutting my eyelash about that much. And just as one more tip, I like to cut like this and where I would be using the inner corner of the lash because it kind of starts short and gets longer. And I think that looks better instead of them being like all one length of eyelash. My number one favorite glue is gonna be this Duo eyelash glue. It's just like a little brush applicator. It's so easy, it stays so long. This is the only eyelash glue that I will ever use my entire life. It's my absolute favorite. So then I just brush them on. and you're gonna have to let them dry for a second. You never go directly in. You have to let it sit here for a minute. The glue will kind of start turning from white to clear, and that's when you want to put it on, because right now if I put it on, it's not going to stick. Typically I like to apply a little bit of mascara while I'm letting them sit. The mascara that I like to use, this one is from Mexico. It's called Prosa Mascara. This is the micro fibras one, so it just adds like little fibers to your eyelashes to make them longer. Sometimes I like to use my finger. So I just finished my eyes, but now I'm gonna do my eyebrows. I like to use the Anastasia, sorry it's hard to show, but this is called the Brow Freeze. But you can literally use hair gel, hairspray, anything. The only thing I would recommend getting is a spoolie. That's what this little brush is called. I bent mine because that makes it easier for me, but yeah, there's so many products. Anything you would think for your hair to keep it in place, that's what you can use for your eyebrows because they're just hair. So my personal method of doing my eyebrows is I brush them up first. Make them look a little bit crazy at first, but just bear with me. And I just shape them by going like this. And then the next extra step that I would do is take this Anastasia brow powder. This one's really old, but this is what it looks like. So I would just take a mixture of the two colors. Now I'm gonna get started on the face. I went ahead and rubbed off, just with water and a little towel, all the glitter that had fallen. And because of that, I am gonna take a little bit more of my milky product and just make sure to reiterate the glow. Lately, I have been using this little primer sample that I have. It's the Laura Mercier Pure Canvas Primer, and it is hydrating. Especially if you want your makeup to last a long time, you should put a primer. Next, I don't really use foundation. I use this IT Cosmetics CC cream, and this is the one that is like the glittery radiant one, like the illuminating. So I don't really like to use foundation. It's not my favorite just because, I don't know. So this one, I think some people wouldn't like this product because it does actually have like little specks of glitter in it. But personally, I like that because sometimes I like to look like a fairy and just be like super glittery. I always use a beauty blender. I just tap. And the reason that I like something light on my skin is because it just kind of helps even it out. But where I'm gonna cover is with concealer. Always blend down your neck. Always. Because it's a very telltale sign when you're wearing makeup if you don't blend on your neck. Like, I blend at least to here with makeup, especially if I'm gonna be in photos. So yeah, always blend down your neck. Before I put concealer, I like to contour and all that. I mainly like to use cream products. So the first one that I'm using, this is the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand. And I know that it looks really crazy. Blend it out, look, see, boom. Blends so nicely and so easily. Next, I go in with this Physicians Formula Butter Glow and Go. The reason I use this one now is because it's a little bit warmer. I do like to use a warmer product as a bronzer, so because bronzer is supposed to imitate a tan, contour is referred to as the shadowing in your face. So like, this is a contour. I'm just gonna go ahead and use the other end. This is the blush. It's actually a really pretty color. Now it's time for concealer, and the first thing that I like to do is take this Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Corrector. The concealer that I'm going to use today is the same one that I use for my eyelids. Let's first apply it to my blemishes. just like that. And I'm gonna let them sit there for a second because I really want them to cover. And then I like to go pretty light. Like I don't drag, I just do little dots. Right away, I'm gonna set it like this. This is what's gonna make it last all night. And I have a little hack for you guys. If you want your concealer to last all night, you're gonna do a technique called baking. And I'll show you guys that in a minute because I do that in 2 spots, but I don't like to do that under my under eyes. But yeah, just bear with me. I'm gonna blend this out and then I'll show y'all. My blemishes look like all blended out. I think this camera kind of blurs my face, so I want to be transparent about that. But you can still see them if I get up close. But for the most part, they do look better. And okay, so I'll show you guys baking when I do that. So I'm gonna get some powder on my little puff. And baking is where you just put a bunch, like an excess amount of powder on your face like that. And you just leave it for a few minutes to sit there, and it's really gonna lock in that product. The thing is that if you use cream products, you typically do want to set them with powder, especially if you're wanting your makeup to last all day. You want to set with powder. So that's when I would take this little trio right here, and I'm gonna take the contour and just put it right here and right here to make a little shadow on my face. Now I'm gonna take the bronzer and just apply it in the same spots where I did the bronzer, a little bit above the contour. I'm gonna take a little bit of powder blush. This is a soft baby pink color. And then I'm just gonna put it right here. Here's another time that I like to bake. I will basically pour some powder out. And then I like buying the makeup sponges that are angled right here, because what I'll do is I'll take some loose powder and apply it like that. And then I just basically carve out my cheek. So next, I'm gonna do highlight. I'm gonna take this goldish color one and just apply it on my nose. And you wanna apply the highlight in all the high points of your face. Also, in the inner corner of your eye will make you look really bright and awake. Like this. Next, I'm gonna finish my eyes. So, I'm just gonna apply a second coat of mascara and then a little bit of mascara on the bottom. I got a little bit darker on that one, that's fine. Now I'm gonna brush off all this powder and I'm gonna go in with one of my favorite products. This is Fenty Diamond Balm and it's called How Many Carats. It's just a really sheer glitter. So you're barely gonna be able to see that. I'll put some on my hand. You can barely see it, but when you put this on, it's gonna catch the light as just like a really sheer, fine glitter, and it looks really good. So I'm gonna tap that on my eyes, as well as my face, because again, I like to look like a fairy. But this is an additional step. Transparent about my second to last step. I curl my eyelashes, but I really wouldn't recommend this unless, like, I don't know, because it can be really hard, and sometimes even with me, I curl it and the eyelash sticks to it and pulls it off. But I kind of have a little hack that I can try to show you. So basically, I'll just get all the lashes in and I'll curl it. Not like extremely hard, but just give it a nice little curl because it helps it blend together. And then I take this hand and I pull my lash down. So see, it just gives it more lift. So I'll show you with the other eye. Okay, so you can see it just made it look a bit more lifted. And my second to last step, I'm gonna take more of this spray and just spray all over my face because again, I like it to look really dewy. And I'll try to let that dry, and then I'm gonna do my lips. This is my favorite lip liner of all time. Like, I've never found one that looks better on me. And this is Charlotte Tilbury in the shade Super Size Me. So I just like to there we go, that's the lip liner. And then I'm gonna take this Huda Beauty in the shade Ooh Baby. It's like dash baby. Put this. I really like the way that it turned out, and I feel like it still looks semi-natural. Maybe I'm delusional, but I hope my tips helped. I'm not like a makeup artist or a makeup expert. I did used to be super into makeup, so these were kind of just the tips that I learned along the way. But yeah, thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll probably film my natural makeup look soon, so stay tuned for that. Bye guys.